Sounds good.
This is the first time that Lauren is.
I usually do the me and Raoul conversations recorded, so
Yeah.
it's my first time with a guest.
Okay. Cool.
So hopefully Lauren doesn't do too bad in the first shot. Alright guys, welcome to the show. Today we are sitting here with Joe from Massive Joe's. How are you going today, Joe?
I'm doing well, man. How are you guys?
We're good?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Very good, very good. First thing, is it Joseph or Joe? What do you like being called?
Joe is good.
Joe's good?
Joe's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
We're having this discussion in the car.
Yeah, like I was literally like, well,
Yeah.
is Joseph on Facebook? Like, does he prefer
Yeah. No, pretty much the only people that call me Joseph are my mother and my fiance.
Okay, yeah.
Everyone else is Joe.
Yeah,
If they call me Joseph, I know I've done something wrong.
Yeah, that's funny. That's like yeah, like that. It was the same with my family. Like my parents never used my actual name. They even if they did, it was like shit. What have I done? Like,
It's like this is serious.
Yeah, exactly. So we're sitting here at Massive Joe's headquarters.
Yep.
That's correct. Yeah. So I've seen your evolution with Massive Joe's from probably 4 years ago. I saw you at Fit Wars, which is like a local CrossFit competition here.
Yep.
And it's been crazy to see how it's blown up. So let's find out a bit more about your background and how you got into all of this and how Massive Joe started.
Yeah, absolutely. How far back would you like me to go?
Let's go straight deep. Let's go as deep as we need to go.
How much time do we have? Alright, so I guess in a nutshell, to kind of break it back to how I first got into this industry is probably the first place to start is when I was younger, I grew up playing basketball. So ever since I can remember, I think I picked up my first basketball when I was like 4 years old. And so I grew up, you know, as a kid and then as a teenager playing basketball.
Yeah.
And I was quite good at basketball. So, you know, throughout the district competitions and school competitions and whatnot, you know, I made it to quite a high level in basketball at the Institute of Sport.
Awesome.
What happened as part of that, because I was playing so much and putting my body at such a young age through so much stress, was when I was 14 I developed a stress fracture in my back, in my lower spine. So the vertebrae is called the L5 on S1 vertebrae, which is like right down the bottom. Which is not that big a deal. A lot of athletes that play high impact sport in particular have that stress fracture. It's quite common. There's actually a name for it. I think it's spondylolisthesis is what they call it in medical terms.
In the science world.
Yeah, so no big deal. But then what happened was when I was 19, I developed another stress fracture on the exact same vertebrae, which is very rare. Very rarely happens. And what happens when you have two on the same vertebrae is that your spine becomes very unstable on that particular vertebrae, and there's no stability with your spinal cord and everything that attaches around that area. So when that happened, that was effectively the end of basketball. I couldn't play, still can't play because it's too high risk, because there's not enough stability in my spine, and you know, the wrong movement or but get thrown down on the court or whatever, and I hit that, you know, I could end up paraplegic effectively.
Yeah.
Wow, that would have been heartbreaking.
Yeah, it wasn't as a 19-year-old when I, you know, ever since I was young, that was kind of like my career path was like professional basketball, and then that was kind of taken away like in a blink of an eye when that second thing happened. So anyway, that was the end of basketball. But then because I'd always, you know, throughout my younger years had been involved in health and fitness through basketball, I wanted to stay fit and healthy. You know, I didn't want to just stop being active.
Yeah, cool.
So the doctors and the physios at the time said to me, look, you know, if you want to continue to be active, you can't do anything high impact anymore, which pretty much leaves lifting weights. You know, low impact type exercise. And I'd been exposed to lifting weights through basketball, through strength and conditioning for basketball. And so I was like, yeah, cool, you know, I enjoy lifting weights. I'll just kind of devote more time to that and kind of see where we go. So spent more time in the gym, and then my kind of competitive streak came out, and so I found out about natural bodybuilding. There's actually competitions where you can go and, you know, show off your hard work in the gym and compete as a natural bodybuilder. So I entered my first natural bodybuilding competition a year after that, and did quite well in that. And then, you know, spent more and more time in that sport. And this is where Massive Joe's came about. So
Yeah.
to get to the point, at the time, and this is going back over 10 years ago now, this is like 11 years ago, I was very interested in supplementation.
Yeah.
So from a natural bodybuilding perspective, I was interested competitively about how can I get an edge over the competition.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, what sort of supplements can I use, protein powders. You know, at the time it was pretty much protein powders, there
Yeah.
wasn't a whole lot else. So I started doing a lot of research into what was happening in the United States, because the US, they changed the laws on how supplements are regulated. So the supplement industry at that time was really exploding in the US, all these new ingredients coming out on the market.
Yeah.
So I took an interest in that and started bringing products over for myself, for my personal use.
Yeah.
So a pre-workout supplement, protein powders at the time that actually tasted good.
Was there any like problems getting any of them into Australia?
Not at that time.
The
No, it's
regulations were a
different
little
now.
bit different for supplements.
It's different now, but back then. So I started bringing them over, taking them myself, and I was getting really good results. I continued to compete year after year, and I was winning competitions. And I was training at the time. I was at university, at Adelaide University. And so what started happening was guys were like, oh, there's that guy that does the bodybuilding. You know, back then no one did bodybuilding. It was kind
It
of
was
like
such a niche scene. Back
so niche. Now, you know, everyone does bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Everyone, but it's much more popular. But
Yeah.
back then, you know, you'd have a bodybuilding show with like 10 competitors.
Yeah.
Now you have a bodybuilding show with 200.
Yeah,
To
wow.
put it in perspective. So at the university gym, people were like, oh, that's that guy that does bodybuilding. So people were taking an interest in what I was doing. And, you know, I'd come to the gym, I'd have my pre-workout supplement, drink it, have branched chain aminos during my workout.
Yeah.
Finish workout, I got my protein powder. So people started asking me questions, and they were like, you know, what is this stuff you're taking? And so I told them. And then so they were like, well, you know, next time you order some, can you get me some? I'd like to try that. I'm like, yeah, cool, not a problem. So fast forward a few months, I started importing commercially to supply people at Adelaide University, at the university gym, and was doing, you know, decent business through that.
Is that the Adelaide Uni Gym, like on the third level?
Yeah, still there, same one. Yeah.
Cool.
And so then I thought to myself, well, look, you know, if I'm doing this with the Adelaide Uni Gym, maybe I can sell to the other university gyms, UniSA and Flinders Uni. So I did. So I started importing more stuff, selling to these gyms. And then a good friend of mine who I went to school with was studying information technology, IT systems at university. So we were at uni at the same time, but studying completely different things. And so I sat down with him one day and I'm like, man, you know, I'm selling all this stuff through the university gyms. I'd like to, you know, start a website and see what we can do. You know, if there's this much market in just Adelaide at the university gyms, I'd like to kind of explore the market outside of that. And he was like, okay, cool, well, you know, let's set you up a basic website and we'll set you up an eBay store as well, and we'll just see how you go.
How good are IT friends?
Yeah,
Like
they're
they
great.
can do that for you.
They're great.
Yeah, we have had a lot of help with that.
They're great. And so we did it. So we set up a really basic website. I've still got copies of the website. Like I can run it as an actual website now, and it's horrible. So set that up. I was the first person in Australia to sell supplements on eBay. So eBay had to actually open a new category for me to sell them because they didn't have one. And it just like, it literally went, you know, literally like overnight, it just exploded because there was a huge demand online in all these other places in Australia for supplements. So I went from importing, you know, at the time I was bringing over like boxes of supplements to like pallets within weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
And selling them online.
Alright, so I think that's a really crucial point in business because you were obviously smart enough to, I think a lot of people might get to a similar stage and be like, oh, this is kind of okay, but then not take the risk to go from boxes to pallets.
Yeah.
So what made you decide, like, because that would have taken like a bit of risk taking, a bit of like investment.
Yeah.
What made you think like, okay, like I should do this, or
well, to be honest, the reason why I did it was pretty much from a competitive perspective.
Okay.
Not competitive business-wise, but I was like, you know, I'd actually like to help other people who are interested in these products get these products because I'm getting really good results from them.
Yeah.
So if I can do something to help other people get really good results from them, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much you know, business motivated or financially motivated. It was kind of a little bit deeper than that. I was kind of like, well, this is a really good opportunity to actually help people.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah.
just grow the sport that you like and
Yeah,
more people
yeah,
into it.
and I enjoyed it as well, you know, and I was like, you know, if I'm getting great results with these and with these products, and you know, I can help other people get great results, fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's pretty much why I did it.
Yeah.
You know, at that stage.
Yeah,
That
of course.
kind of, you know, risk at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't worry about making a competition too good at when you competed for your competition?
No, of course not. No, definitely not. No, I think you have to be, you know, confident enough in your own
Yeah.
skills that, you know, if it's a level playing field, that
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I
it's
think it's a
fine.
pretty natural thing, you know, like we are both CrossFit coaches and
Yeah.
all of our members eventually surpass our abilities, and like
Yeah.
that's almost like the best thing because you're like,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
it grows
Yeah.
it. So from there, from going from, you know, you bringing in pallets, where'd you go from there?
Yeah, okay. So from that point, so at the time I was still studying at university. So I studied at university. I did a double degree in law and mechanical engineering. So I was at university for almost 7 years doing that. So this all happened like within the first 2-3 years of university. So I still had another 4 years left.
Yeah.
So for that next 4 years, I was still competing in natural bodybuilding. I was studying the degrees at university. I was running Massive Joe's and the Massive Joe's eBay store at the time. And I was working part-time for an engineer.